Welcome to episode 22 of the Two Average Guys Sport Podcast. Just a couple average dudes talking about sports. No form of playing experience, no form of management experience. Literally two average guys. My name is Sam. This is my co-host here, Espen. Espen, how are we doing today, man?
We're doing good. Happy November. Election season's coming to an end. Thank God. Let's just amen to that. We not a political podcast, but boy, it is nice to have this election wrapping up.
Yeah, like you said, we're not a political podcast, but make sure if you are 18 or above and registered to vote to do so. It is important to use your rights, as in other countries, they don't really have those. So just putting that out there. We got some great stuff for you guys today. NBA, MLB, college football, NFL, trade deadline special featuring our top five at the end of the podcast. Following that, we do have a special interview guest from our hometown in Northern Virginia. Shall we go ahead and get started?
Let's talk some sports.
All right, NBA, obviously not much. Just real quick, the NBA wants to start in December. NBPA, the National Basketball Players Association, wants to start until late January. What are your thoughts here? Would you want to see a December 25th start? And then I know in the last podcast you mentioned some star athletes might sit out. Or do you want to start in late January, have a quicker or less game season? What are your thoughts about this?
I'm okay giving up the Christmas Day games so that we get the players playing in late January. Just give them a full off season that they usually get. Obviously you're not going to be able to play like an 82 game. If you start in late January, I'm thinking like what, 50, probably like a 50 game season.
Yeah, you're probably right around that 50 game season. I would figure, let's doing the math real quick. You got 29 teams, obviously, besides yours. And then so you play about 28 games against the other conference. 30. And then you would have about 19 in your own or 20 in your own conference. I'm not opposed to it. I think that gives you enough games to kind of get a feel for the season, getting a rhythm in a sense. I'm not opposed to it if it's a 55 game season. Just eliminate All-Star break.
Yeah, and the playoffs are so long in the NBA. It seems like they drag on for a few months. So, I think late January would be the ultimate option. I think it's going to be interesting what they agree on. LeBron runs the league, so whatever he says will go.
Yeah, LeBron is the drama queen of the league, but that's all right. From NBA to MLB. A few hire-ins. We spoke about Tony La Russa last week for the White Sox. Now the Detroit Tigers, A.J. Hinch. Not a good publicity move for the Tigers. A.J. Hinch was suspended for a year because of the cheating, whatever you want to call it, in Houston when they won the World Series. So do you think, A, this is a good hire, and then B, could he turn the team around because the Tigers suck?
Yeah, I think they got some young talent coming up, so they looked a little bit better this year. But boy, how did he get hired so quickly? It's like as soon as the suspension's up, he's the hottest guy on the market. Like, do we not forget he cheated for a couple seasons with the team? Like,
I think this really does hurt the MLB in a sense, both league wide and team wide as well. Team wide, this guy's back in after a very short suspension, and the fact that he got hired, I feel like the MLB is just like letting it slide. Like, you cheated, congrats, you're gonna get suspended for a year, but then you can come back. So I think it's the MLB continues to screw up because I don't think this should have been hired this quickly.
The MLB is just they're trying really hard to keep fans away from the game and to not get new fans. That's what they're doing. It's just, baseball's struggling right now. And then speaking of new managers, we got Alex Cora potentially returning to Boston, which this move may be even more crazy. How is the MLB letting these cheaters return?
Yeah, Alex Cora literally – and the Red Sox fired their manager. Like, this dude literally could have been suspended and it would have been fine. And all would have been is the Red Sox don't have to pay him or do have to pay him. The MLB is fucking up. I'm going to say it, and this is going to go on explicit now because I said that, but It's
It
just
seems to, yeah,
it's poor job by the MLB to allow this and let it continue to go. It's just
yeah,
it's bad. I think they're really screwing up.
yeah. I think it's a gigantic shit show. And then I'll let you take the next one for some New York Mets news because I don't really know much about the story. So
Yeah, real quick, Steve Cohen bought the Mets. He was finally able to purchase them. De Blasio was trying to prevent it. Steve Cohen had a little bit of trying to buy the Mets in the past. Good move for the Mets. Hopefully this will help them. I know the players were definitely happy. Just the Mets, I guess, congrats. Something good happens to New York because the rest of your league or the rest of your teams suck there. It's just, it ain't sexy. I'll say that. That's that.
New York, New York.
Yeah, definitely not good. But going from MLB to college football, go ahead and give us the recap results of the weekend.
Yeah, obviously when we finished our episode on Friday, Trevor Lawrence test positive, out for the game against Boston College. That was probably the big storyline of the weekend. And Clemson, they struggled without Lawrence. Their backup I can't remember his name, but
It's DJ Ubilameli or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but his first name is DJ.
yeah, there was that Clemson spread, that like 30-point spread they had on Boston College, but Boston College led for most of the game, and I tuned into a little bit of it in the first half, and Boston College, I mean they jumped out to a 28-13 lead. Clemson came back and wins by 6, but Clemson should be worried. They have to play Notre Dame next week. I know you absolutely hate Notre Dame and everything about them. I think Notre Dame can beat them now without Lawrence. He affects that team that much.
If Notre Dame happens to win, and we'll revisit this on Thursday as well, if Notre Dame happens to win, is Clemson officially eliminated from the college football playoffs? Or do they would just, if they win the rest of the season, win the ACC championship, okay, they might get that back in?
I think one loss would be if they lose to Notre Dame, because Notre Dame is probably going to end up as a top 10 team at the end of the season. So it's interesting to see. We had some other teams lose this week up there. I mean, there aren't a ton of undefeated teams left that have played games. So
do you take this into account if you're the college football rankings or playoff committee? Okay, they lost their star player for a couple of weeks, but we know he's going to be back. Is that something you have to consider when you're, reevaluating the season? Oh, okay, they didn't have Trevor Lawrence in these 2 games.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something that they didn't expect to happen, and they definitely got to take, like you said, they got to take that into account, put that into their resume. Yeah, it's he's probably going to come back the week after Notre Dame. It'll be a fun game this weekend. But speaking of one quarterback going to another great quarterback, Justin Fields in Ohio State. They pounced on Penn State. I didn't catch any of this game, but it looked like they were in full control. Penn State's off to an 0-2 start, so not great for them. But the Buckeyes, they look like the typical Buckeyes. High-powered offense, a lot of weapons. They just continue to roll.
Yeah, for sure. And then I just want to throw this in there. A little hook 'em horns action. Texas going up to Stillwater, beating Oklahoma State. No Big 12 is probably getting in the college football playoff this year. We're up to your Oklahoma State prediction. This was a fun one, man. This was something.
Yeah, I didn't watch a whole lot of college football this weekend, but I saw it was high scoring, shocker, Big 12. But Sam Ehlinger looked like he had a pretty solid game for Texas, and Oklahoma State. I really thought they had a shot, but I said this a couple weeks ago. They hadn't played anybody decent or good, and it came back to kind of bite them in the ass a little bit because Texas isn't they're not terrible, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have to agree with you there. Also, Michigan State beats Michigan. Do we have to start asking, is Jim Harbaugh on the hot seat?
I feel like we say this every
he's 1-1.
We say this every season.
I think he has to. He hasn't beat Ohio State, and you lose to an unranked Michigan State team. I mean, he's never taken Michigan to that next level. Every single season he's been there, I'm pretty sure Michigan has been between 10th and 20th in the rankings. They're just always just they're good. They're a good team always. They'll get you that 8-9 win season in normal seasons, but they just can't beat Ohio State in the big game, and they just can't get to the playoff. And
get into those big bowl games. So
Yeah, I mean, I if Michigan got into a playoff game, I could not see them winning. I could see them getting killed. They're just not a quality team. But that's okay. Speaking about one fake team to another, UNC starting to look a little bit faker now. Lose to Florida State a couple weeks ago. I know they almost came back and won, but now they lose to UVA in a shootout. Definitely you start to kind of question, is UNC legit this season? And I'm starting to believe that they are pretenders.
Yeah, they're definitely pretenders. They got off to a hot start. They peaked early, and in a football season, you don't want to peak early. So I still think they're a good team. They'll probably end up finishing in the top 25 somewhere, but it's just one of those things. It's a weird season. Weird things can happen. I don't think UVA is that good either. So this is another bad loss for North Carolina.
Yeah, for sure. And then go ahead and talk about the other team from Kansas.
Not us. Kansas Jayhawks won't be mentioned, but Kansas State. I actually predicted this when I said West Virginia would beat them last week. They actually crushed them.
37-10.
Yeah, I saw this as a trap game for Kansas State. They're kind of a team that was starting to get a little taste of greatness. They're peaking a little too early, but the Big 12 is just so mediocre this year. It's just it sucks not having them in the playoff because I like to cheer for my own conference. If Kansas will never get in, so it'd be fun to cheer for a team and Oklahoma, the team that has been in the last few years, can never do shit in the playoffs. So yeah.
We've had only SEC and Big Ten teams win, right? The playoff. LSU, Alabama, and Ohio State.
I'm trying to think.
And Clemson, ACC too. So all right, so 3 out of 5. But Big 12 and Pac-12 are still short.
I don't think the Big 12 or Pac-12 even made the championship game.
Yeah, they have, because Ohio State beat Oregon the first time.
That's right. Yeah, it's with Marcus Mariota. But yeah,
Oklahoma never got there?
They've always gotten blown out, whoever they played, so typical.
They suck. But going to our Big Ten news / college football news, Wisconsin cases go up from 6 to 22, 12 players, 10 staff. Wisconsin not looking good, obviously, for them. Now missing 2 or 3 games. So, obviously the Big Ten only has 8 games in a season. If a team goes 6-0 or 5-0, where do we put them along lines of a big bowl game, small bowl game, no bowl game?
Well, Wisconsin they'll get into a bowl game no matter what. But yeah, they won't be in the playoff mix this year. I just think lack of games is going to hurt teams this year. Yeah, it's just so hard to predict. Honestly, and the Pac-12 kicks off this week, and I know MACtion kicks off this week, so we have more conferences. It's every week a new conference seems to kick off, so it's hard to keep up with. But I think they're screwed. And
speaking about the MAC, when this episode comes out, that means you will have Wednesday night football, tomorrow night MAC action. One way to get viewership is Wednesday night football. I'll tell you that. That's it.
Yeah. And then new top 5 this week. Not much change really. I don't think anything changed. I think Alabama though did gain on Clemson. They're almost dead even at number 1. So Clemson, because of that, and Bama they look unbelievable. Ohio State 3, Notre Dame 4, Georgia 5. It's just I like college football, but it's just the same teams. It's the same teams every year. It's just the same teams.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see that. But going outside of the top 5 into the top 25, a little bit weird rankings. Liberty at 25. Liberty is 6-0. Their best win is at Syracuse, so that's not saying much.
I think Syracuse is 1-5. So.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and drink some water, Liberty, because that's all you can do there. So you can't hold hands, you can't hug, you can't do any of the dirty. I mean, I hate to say it, throwing it out there, but
that's another school you like to take a dump on. Notre Dame and Liberty. I think those Catholic schools are just.
BYU needs to play Liberty in the Christian Bowl, or I guess it's not Christian Bowl. It'd be the Holy Bowl. We should make a new bowl game called the Holy Bowl that has Liberty. Which is the college campus that doesn't drink? Is it Texas Tech? Or
Baylor.
TC? All right, Baylor, Notre Dame, BYU. Who else is up there?
I think that's about it.
You guys are the strictest, holiest schools and just play them against each other. And then the party is you guys throw water on each other.
Innovative ideas from Samuel. There you go.
No light bulb over the head.
Some other teams, weird teams in the top 25. USC haven't played at all. Also, I think I saw Oregon have jumped up like 6 spots in the last few weeks, and they haven't played a game. It's just they're getting rewarded by not playing. So maybe it was a good move for the Pac-12 to start so late.
Yeah, Pac-12 was like, we're gonna have so many high teams in the rankings.
And then, like we said, Wisconsin, they're number 10, and they'll probably fall out of the rankings as they don't play. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely tough. But as we go from Saturdays to Sundays, quite the NFL day. Some better games, some terrible games. Beginning with our last Thursday night game, absolute shit show, boring game, something you could fall asleep to. As Matt Ryan and Teddy Bridgewater combined for 1 passing touchdown and 2 interceptions. Falcons take down the Panthers. I gained 1 on this game. We'll definitely talk about that a little bit, but just wasn't pleasant to watch, man.
It was not. I knew Atlanta's just whatever I pick for or against them, they'll just do the opposite. And I love Matt Ryan's comments saying that this could be the start of something for us. Dude, you're 2-6. I mean,
the thing is like they could easily be, they almost beat the Cowboys. They almost beat the Lions. Obviously, they beat the Vikings and the Panthers.
The Bears, they could be like 6-1 or 7-1.
Yeah, they could be a very good team, except it's Atlanta, man. They just don't know how to close out leads. It's like you were this close from flipping the script, and it's just not going your way.
Yeah, Thursday night games this year have not been great. They've honestly been terrible if I'm thinking about it.
And I don't know who we have this Thursday coming up.
Packers, Niners.
Oh, okay, that's actually a pretty good game. Although we'll talk back about that because we have some recent news.
Yeah.
Go ahead, take the next one.
Going into Sunday, it was a lot. Like we said, there's a lot of tough games to pick. It was a weird Sunday, but Minnesota, starting with Minnesota, Green Bay, they upset the Packers. Dalvin Cook has 4 touchdowns. I think I saw he had like 49 fantasy points on some team. And, my Minnesota pulling off a shocker, and Green Bay just proving to me that they are not a great team. I said Green Bay. This is what Green Bay does all the time. They go get 11 or 12 wins. Everybody thinks Aaron Rodgers is a god. They go to the playoffs and lose. It happens every season.
I mean, you definitely could argue that they've lost 2 out of the last 3. Obviously, one against Tampa, who's definitely looking good to say the least. They beat the shit out of Houston, and then they come back and lose to Minnesota. Not a good look for Green Bay. I think they need another receiver to go with Devontae Adams because he just carries the workload. And I don't understand why teams don't double coverage him because he just carries the workload for them. No one else on that team is even of quality. It's bad.
Yeah. I'll let you take the next game.
Next game, Tennessee forgets to show up in Cincinnati, including the first half. Burrow leads them to a good victory over a quality team. Definitely looking like the rookie offensive player of the year. Any comments about that? I mean, they just looked good.
This was a surprising result, but I think at the same time we both said last week I think we said Cincinnati would keep it close, but I don't think we thought Cincinnati would win. Cincinnati is just another one of those teams this year that their record's not great, but they're a better team than they were last year. I could easily see Cincinnati making the playoffs next year. I'm serious.
Yeah, I mean they lost close game against Cleveland last week. Then in the first game against the Chargers. Yeah, so they could easily be 4-4 instead of 2-5-1. And they almost beat the Eagles actually. So they could be 5-3 right now, and they're sitting here at 2-5-1. I mean, that's just 2020 at its finest right there.
Yeah, for sure. And then moving into our beatdown of the day with my Chiefs and Jets. Mahomes throws 5 touchdowns, and the Jets have no defense. Kansas City, they dominated. I mean, it was basically what we all expected. Evan Mahomes also, I'm pretty sure he threw to 5 different receivers.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes got benched against the Jets. That says it all about him, man.
Second straight week, he's been benched. It's just not looking good for Kansas City. We have 7-1. We have Chad Henne as our backup. So.
And the Jets, they traded away what I heard was like a future Pro Bowler linebacker today to the Steelers
see-
for like a fifth-round pick. Definitely a questionable move. That's just asking for Adam Gase to get fired.
JETSON16.
You know what the thing is the Jets will go from like a guy like Adam Gase to Bill O'Brien. Like they're dumb enough to go for Bill O'Brien.
If they get Bill O'Brien, I may hysterically roll on the floor and laugh.
Next one is Phillip Rivers. Looks like a Pro Bowler. Colts go hunting against the Lions and come back with a win. You gained the game on me for this one. Just, God damn it, Detroit! Stop being so inconsistent, man. You just
they're a tough team to pick this year for sure.
They just go back and forth, and it's like, really, you guys suck, man.
Indianapolis, I don't know if they're legit or not. They're 5-2. The AFC playoff race is just insane right now. There's like 6 teams that are 5-2, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think Indy is tied with Tennessee for the tie, like in first right now. So
yeah,
it's good for them. But
and then going into the AFC North battle, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, back and forth game. Pittsburgh pulls away late, and the Steelers are 7-0. I think I'm finally gonna call them legit. They beat two straight weeks of great teams. They beat Tennessee, they beat Baltimore, not by much. I still don't think they're the best team in the NFL, but they definitely are legit. I could see them making an AFC.
Do you see them making a fight against Kansas City come AFC Championship time?
Their defense is really, really good right now. I just don't think the offense is. Ben is. Yeah. You can see Ben is starting to get older. How is that? I mean, now that I think about it, how is that offense how are they putting up these points? Their offense is not great.
They got Chase Claypool. I mean, the dude's the wide receiver. He had 4 touchdowns in one game, and he just seems to be a big physical receiver. But the thing is, it doesn't seem like the Steelers have prepared well for life after Ben Roethlisberger. And obviously, they probably believe in him, probably believe that he's a few more years left. But it's definitely starting to get to that point where you want a guy to come in and exhibit, oh, okay, this is what you do. It's a little nerve-wracking. But
yeah, for sure.
Tua time in Miami, not a great game for him. He only had like 92 passing yards and 1 touchdown, but Miami's defense was able to pick off Goff twice. Miami with the upset, has a winning record, now has quality wins against the Rams, the 49ers. Good for them, man. Brian Flores is a fun coach to watch.
We were texting about the Dolphins yesterday, and I was arguing the point that I think they can make the playoffs. I call me crazy, but you look at the schedule they've played. Their losses have been super close. They're probably going to finish second in the AFC East. Screw you, Patriots fans. I mean, it's just I don't see the we'll get into kind of tying into our next game with the Patriots here. The Patriots they're in panic mode. Wouldn't you say so?
I'm gonna let you cover the game, and then I'm gonna say my little spiel on it because I do have something to say. Yeah,
the Bills. It was a close game. I didn't watch a whole bunch of this one. I was just kind of flipping back and forth between games. But Buffalo gets to 6-2. They still look like. I mean, they're obviously probably in the AFC East. I think that's kind of a pretty known fact at this point. Cam Newton fumbles the ball twice. Cam Newton sucks. I saw his MVP odds have gone from plus 1,400 a couple weeks ago to plus 25,000.
Hey, give it a shot. So as you said, Patriots are 2-5. They've lost 4 straight, so obviously not in the right direction. I think it is time they bench Cam Newton. When you have an offense for the last 20 years under Tom Brady, a guy who gets the ball out quickly, not a mobile guy, and then you have a guy like Cam Newton, I think Cam Newton, he's in the wrong place right now. I think he could definitely benefit somewhere else. I think the Patriots should start out young, go with Jarrett Stidham, see what they got in him. If it ain't much, you got the draft. You got 3 good quarterbacks, obviously, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance. Those are some of the bigger names. I think it is time we have to start being along the lines of start Stidham.
Is the Patriots dynasty over?
No.
Yes, it is.
Never.
It's over.
It doesn't die. I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. Next game, Raiders and Browns duel it out in a 40-mile-per-hour windstorm. Raiders able to snag the win. Terrible game. Terrible game.
No, fun game. Let the field goals go wide left. Let them. Some of those kicks were just awful.
It's like a golf shot. It's like a slice, and it's just like right to left. It's
yeah. You picked up a game here on me. I really thought Cleveland would win. I could have seen. I was so back and forth. I just did this just to take a chance and maybe gain on you, but and kind of speaking with the Cleveland, Odell, it's probably it doesn't look like he's liking it there anymore. You think they should trade him in the offseason?
I think they should trade him. I remember when the trade happened, it was like the Giants got Jabril Peppers and like pretty sure like a first round pick, and now it looks like, oh, okay, well, who really won that trade? But Beckham, he's a great wide receiver, but I think he's like, it really does scare me to think like he could be on that team again because he's such a good player. But at the same time, he's not that elite level wide receiver right now. I mean, I'm sure he is once he's healthy and everything, but it doesn't seem like, it's a good fit for him in Cleveland.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. Cleveland, they're 5-3. They're kind of in that playoff mix. So is Vegas. They're 4-3. Just that was a wild game.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, take the next one. This is a bogus game and a half.
The Chargers are up 24-3 in the second half and below another lead. They're the Atlanta Falcons of the AFC. They like to blow leads. They've been doing it for years with Phillip Rivers, and that tradition continues. Tradition unlike any other. The Chargers blowing leads. Drew Lock leads Denver down the field. Shout out to him. I hate Denver, but I wanted Denver to win for my pick's sake. Gets a touchdown in the last second, and Denver wins.
It was a pass interference call that got the ball down the field, and then they go ahead and screw it up as always. God damn it, LA. No wonder why you don't have any fans at your games. They must all be miserable.
Yeah, this was just – it didn't seem like –
they need to start sacrificing a fan every game. Maybe their team will win.
God, that's a little excessive.
No.
Let's talk about Russ.
Yeah, let's get to it because I'm just sick and tired of talking about the freaking Chargers. Russ, MVP favorite, an MVP favorite, beats the crap out of San Francisco. San Francisco has some bad news today. Garoppolo out indefinitely. They said high ankle sprain, about 6 weeks or so. George Kittle out 8 weeks with the broken foot. You're San Francisco. You can tank. Hate to say it. Everyone on your team is injured. There's no reason putting up a fight. And just remember they do play the Cowboys in like week 13 or week 14. So feel free to give them off then too. Give us a win. San Francisco, we're up to your season.
Yeah, their season's done now without Garoppolo and Kittle. Kittle's my fantasy tight end, so great news there.
Not a good look, man.
No,
Not
so
a promising look.
Gotta go shopping for new tight ends. So we'll be doing that. And then another pretty good game. I think most people thought this would be a good game. New Orleans and Chicago. This was pretty back and forth the whole game. The Bears actually make a field goal, tie it, and go to overtime, and then the Saints run down the field in OT, and they get the W. Saints are 5-2. They look. I hate to say it, but
they look like the worst 5-2 team in football, man. They look horrendous.
They looked good to me yesterday. Like their defense was actually not too. I mean, they were playing the Bears, who don't have the greatest offense, but I still think the Saints are probably going to be like a 10-6, 11, and they're going to get in the playoffs. So
I think they lose first round though.
Yeah, I don't think they make a run, but they'll get in the playoffs. And then the Bears.
Are they
NFC
legit?
North.
Just answer that question real quick. I don't think so.
Every week's different for me. That's my answer.
We talked about it before. They could have lost against Atlanta, so they could very, very well looking at 4-3. What was that? That was my laptop. 4-3, 5-3. Yeah, little magic season. Let's skip it because screw you, Chicago. You guys suck. NFC East Sunday Night Football in a horrendous matchup. The Eagles beat the Cowboys in Philly. Whatever, that's fine. I just want to say this real quick. Carson Wentz, you suck. You are a terrible quarterback. Give us our 4 turnovers. You had 2 picks, 2 fumbles, and 1 really horrendous fumble. and you can rant for a second while I pull up this tweet that you sent me yesterday. LMAO, Wentz's trash. That was the dumbest fumble I've ever seen. His own heel made him fumble. His own body hates him. Yeah, how does that feel to suck, Carson Wentz? All right, now to my Cowboys real quick. Danucci, doesn't matter. He's Gucci. Terrible game. We get Andy Dalton back next week. God bless the redheaded thunder, whatever, red lightning, whatever you want to call him. Throw to Amari Cooper. Stop throwing to Gallup as much. Throw to CeeDee Lamb. Offensive line, you're shit. Run behind Zach Martin. Zeke touched the ball 25 times a game. Defense, you looked good. Stop with the turnovers. That's it. All right, I'm done.
Wow. How do you guys lose by 14 points when the Eagles have 4 turnovers? I just can't really wrap my head around that.
Because if they have 4 turnovers, that only means we get 3 points with Ganucci the Ducci.
Yeah, Cowboys still game out of the division lead, so it's still anything's possible. Eagles won't win. I don't think there's a 7-win team. I'm sticking by
I think the Eagles go 7-8-1.
6-9-1. Eagles will. It's bad.
Yeah, definitely not promising. Now to our trade deadline special. You are going to answer with either yes or no, not maybe, not oh okay maybe.
Yeah.
AFC teams, buyers or sellers? Patriots, sellers.
You mean buyers or sellers? Like answer which one?
Yeah, not yes or no. I didn't mean yes or no. I meant buyers or sellers. Are they going to buy or are they going to sell? Patriots, sellers.
Buyers.
Ooh, Raiders, buyers.
I'm going to say buyers, yeah.
Ravens.
Sellers.
I don't think they're either.
You're just kind of content?
I'm quite content. Browns, sellers.
I think they're content.
Okay. Titans, buyers. They did acquire Desmond King today as well.
Yeah.
All right. NFC, Eagles, sellers.
Buyers.
Cardinals, buyers.
Buyers.
Packers, buyers.
I think they're content. I don't think it's the right move, but they're content.
Saints, content.
Buyers.
And then the Rams. I think the Rams are sellers.
Yeah, I can see the Rams being sellers.
All right. Now to yes or no. Will these players be traded? Browns tight end David Njoku has expressed frustration with Austin Hooper almost becoming the main tight end. I think he gets traded.
I do too. He's been injured too a lot this year, so I think that's been a big role. But yeah, he's going to get traded.
All right. Lions wide receiver Marvin Jones, been quiet for most of the year. Still a quality wide receiver. I think he does not get traded.
I think he does get traded. He gets put onto a better. I get him to like Green Bay, and there's your answer to the Devontae Adams question. Get a second dual threat receiver. So
that's true. Bengals wide receiver AJ Green, definitely a bigger name receiver, good quality. Could be a full rebuild in Cincinnati. I do not think they sell him. I think he is the target for Burrow for the next few years.
Yeah, he's a tough one. I feel like he's been a free agency question for the last 5 years. It feels like I honestly couldn't answer to his question for anything.
So Vikings safety Anthony Harris. Vikings are not a quality team coming off of a good win. Might change the attitude there. I think he does get traded.
What position is he?
Safety.
Yeah, I could see him getting traded. They gotta sell get somebody else in there for that defense. So
former starter, now backup, Dolphins quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think he does not get traded.
Yeah, me personally, I want him to go to Dallas. I've been saying that for a few weeks. Get him to Dallas. I don't think he will. I think it'll be. I think he'll honestly. So he'll play for Miami again. I think they'll probably flip back and forth between Tua and Fitzpatrick this year.
Really? All right. Washington football team defensive end / linebacker Ryan Kerrigan, now the backup, has expressed frustration. I think he does not get traded.
No, he seems like a pretty loyal dude. He's been with this team forever. I think he'll stay in Washington.
Patriots pass. Stephen Gilmore, one of the best cornerbacks in the game. I think he does get traded.
I do not think he gets traded. I think he stays in New England. They have very few bright spots for that team this year. He's one of them, so I think they want to hold on to him.
And last but not least, Giants wide receiver Golden Tate. Giants are not good. He's definitely in the later half of his career. Could be a nice addition in the slot. I think he does get traded.
I do too. Team. It's never a bad thing to add a high quality wide receiver like him. So I think, and the Giants are just trash. So.
All right. Now to all the other sport news. I don't know who the hell won the Bermuda Championship. Not that it matters.
Brian Gay won.
Brian Gay. We do have the Houston Open coming up. I don't know how's the field looking for that.
It's actually a pretty packed field. Usually it's really not, but Masters is next week, so I think a lot of guys are. It's a pretty stacked field. So we'll get into that. Nobody got lost in the Bermuda Triangle, so good for them.
UEFA Champions League this week. RB Salzburg versus Bayern Munich. RB Leipzig versus PSG. Not really any other great games out there. Yeah. Any other sport news for you? NASCAR, I guess they have Final Four or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Since I watched a little bit, but yeah, their championship Final Fours next week at Phoenix. So, racing fans out there, should be fun to watch. There's 4 high quality guys, so should be fun.
All right, 2-hour top 5 of the week. We have done top 5 worst sports cities. We both, we're not going to say it because we have our fans from Cleveland, but that's all right. Top 5 best sports cities. Give me your number 5.
Number 5 for me is San Francisco / Bay Area. They seem like they have passionate fans. They have a bunch of teams there. If you want to throw in like Oakland, San Jose, Golden State, they always seem in any sport. They just seem to always have a championship team every 2 years. So they're always up there. I've always wanted to visit there. It always seems like such a cool sports city. Who would you be your number 5?
I'm going to get to my number 5 in 1 second, but you're right. They had the Giants for 3 years in 2010s. They had the 49ers 2 times. They had the Warriors 5 times. So definitely they seemed like they're in championship every year.
A's are always a playoff team, so.
Yeah, for sure. My number 5 is the city of Chicago. They had the Bulls back in the day. Huge fans of them. And then, they seem to stick it out and win the Chicago during the wintertime NFL games. They watch their kickers suck, but that's all right. Who's your number 4?
Number 4, I wasn't trying to be too biased, but Kansas City here, number 4. Not a history of championships, but I think a little bit of bias does come into it. It's just a lot of it for me is the fans. The fans we're so diehard and passionate about our teams. You look at the Royals postseason run that those 2 years. They were packing the stadium like crazy. The Chiefs, obviously, the last few years, it's been insane to live here in Kansas City, in the Kansas City area. So, I'll be a Kansas City sports fan to the day I die, and I love it.
My number 4 is the city of Seattle. I never forget the Marshawn Lynch run, and they called it the Beastquake. They actually had a registered earthquake or something around there. Obviously it sucks that they do not have a basketball team anymore, but overall, I think a pretty good city. I think the Mariners could be a little bit better in terms of fans, but overall, pretty good quality. And they got a hockey team.
And I'm pretty sure MLS team, the Sounders, so they're not a bad team. They've won a few championships. So
yep.
I miss the Sonics. I want the Sonics to go back. But
give me your number 3.
Number 3 for me is Chicago. Like you said, the Bulls run in the 90s. The Bears had a really solid 80s run when they had an incredible defense and won a Super Bowl with Ditka and the Bears. And the Cubs won a World Series. Chicago just looks like such a cool city to live in for sports. It's just they kind of remind me of Kansas City a little bit. So with sports fans.
Fair enough. My number 3 is the city of Dallas. This is biased. That's it. I have nothing else to say. It's biased. I love being a Cowboys fan. They go all out for Cowboy games. Love it. Love the energy. That's that. Give me your number 2.
Number 2. Number 2 for me is Los Angeles. A little bit recency bias, but you look at the championships. They're not great sports fans, but you look at the teams. You want to just look at teams. The Dodgers, historically a great franchise. Never mind about the Angels. The Lakers, of course, probably the most historic franchise in the NBA. Clippers and the LA Kings for hockey. They won a couple championships. So the LA they terrible sports fans, but they seem to always have some good sports teams and win championships every so often.
Yeah, my number 2 is Kansas City. I will never forget watching the 2014 World Cup where they were like all packed in like a plaza place. I don't know where it is, but great fans there. Like you said, you see Chiefs games, loudest stadium in the country. Just props for them. That's it.
Yeah.
We both have the same number one.
Boston.
Boston.
God, I hate saying it, but I mean, how can you not? It's just the last 2 decades have just been absolutely insane for Boston sports. You know, their fans are aggressive, their fans are passionate. Whether you love them or hate them, it's
they show out, man.
6 rings, Tom Brady drinking a Sam Adams lager.
Yeah, for sure. Boston definitely has some crazy good sports fans. Always sold out games.
So
a game at Fenway is like no other.
hello,
Definitely an incredible.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
My internet connection's unstable. Of course it is.
I was going to
really,
say, did you have anything else to add for Boston for number one?
Yeah, really good. A Red Sox game is like no other. Good quality. Fans are always energetic. Great city. But yeah, that's our top 5. Now we do have a special interview guest, but as always, follow our Twitter above my head T_A_G sports. Above Eston's head is always our name. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Got another subscriber, so always go us. Give them a little sneak peek of this little interview guest.
Yeah, so bringing on another PGA Tour golfer, we got to interview Billy Hurley III. Went to the same high school as us in Leesburg. Went to the Naval Academy. He is a PGA Tour winner, winning the 2016 Quick Loans National. We talked to him about what that week was like for him, some of his favorite courses he's played, his experience in the military at the Naval Academy. Super nice guy, fun interview. Always fun to talk some golf. It was just, and fun that he was from the same town as us, went to the same high school. What are your thoughts?
Played on the same course?
Yeah, I played on some of the same courses we played on when we were teenagers. So, it's always cool to kind of compare, have a PGA Tour golfer play courses that we shoot way into the hundreds on. So,
Yeah, for sure. But as always, like we said, like, comment, subscribe. Big week in sports, MAC action, a little Monday Night Football, Bucks Giants. But yeah, go ahead, take care, man, and look forward to speaking to you soon.
Yeah, see you later.
All right, see you, man. You're good to go.
So we are joined here by Billy Hurley III, another professional golfer joining our show, PGA Tour winner and graduate of the Naval Academy, also from the same hometown as me and Sam here, Leesburg, Virginia. So how are you doing today, Billy?
Good, yeah. Leesburg, good place to grow up, huh?
Yeah, both went. We all graduated from Loudoun County High School, so yeah, nice to have a fellow LCHS alum on the show. So yeah, kind of starting with our questions here. So while growing up in Leesburg, what were some of your favorite golf courses to play there? And in the Northern Virginia area, me and Sam, we kind of started playing at West Park. They did shut down a couple years ago, but that was one of the most well-known courses of Leesburg. So just what were some of the courses you enjoyed playing at?
Yeah, West Park was also where I kind of played a lot growing up. We kind of had when my brother and I started getting more into it, we had kind of the family membership there, and so did a lot of golf there over the summers, especially, and chipping and putting there on the little practice green behind the 9th green, and so West Park, and then we played our home matches at West Park for the golf team at Loudoun County, and then later on in high school, I got the opportunity to have a junior membership at Loudoun Golf and Country Club in Purcellville, so I got to play out there a little bit more, and then we also started when Raspberry Falls opened while I was in high school. So we, did some of our high school practice and matches over there at Raspberry Falls, and so those are some of the places, certainly that we did a lot of practice and stuff at. I also played a little bit of golf in the summers with some friends at I don't know if it's still even there, but Sterling had a little par 3 course. I think Sterling
Still
Park.
there.
Still have that.
And then what was Lowe's Island, now Trump National, we had our district tournament there my senior year, and so that was always kind of one of the premier nicest courses in the area as far as country clubs and that kind of thing go, that that we were able to play, just every once in a while kind of thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. And obviously you probably shot in the 60s or 70s at West Park, and meanwhile in the 18th hole that was water, and then the little island 7 or 8 on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so not the greatest. So I see the shirt you have on, the Naval Academy. So what made them kind of really stand out to you as the college that you wanted to go to? And then you served in the military, I believe.
Yep.
What were your thoughts about the Naval Academy and then transitioning to the military career?
Yeah, I didn't have, most people think, and a lot of people who go to the Naval Academy do, but I didn't have family that went there. And so that's lots of people's connections. But while I didn't have family, I had a lot of family friends. So a lot of my dad's friends and kind of my dad's friends' dads kind of, went to the Naval Academy. And one of them was a retired admiral. One of my dad's good friends' father was a retired admiral. And he actually gave me a tour of the Naval Academy after my freshman year of high school. And basically from that point on, seeing the campus, seeing the whole thing, it was kind of hook, line, and sinker for me. And that's where I wanted to go to school. And so we just kind of set out for the next couple of years. How do you get into the Naval Academy? How do you kind of go through all those steps and whatever. So that was kind of what it was for me. And it was a bit more of like, I wouldn't say I was recruited to play golf there, because I recruited myself in the sense that I told the coach, hey, I'm coming and I want to play golf for you. And so, he was like, okay, that sounds good. So he didn't have to do a whole lot of work to get me convinced or on board to come to the academy. But and then, yeah, obviously after school, a 5-year commitment in the Navy after graduating in 2004. So I was active duty from 2004 to 2009, and I was a surface warfare officer. So I did a ship in Mayport, Florida, and a ship in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii.
Okay, awesome. That's definitely tremendous.
Yeah, interesting story about your military career. And then kind of transitioning to your golf career a little bit after college. So you competed on the 2005 Walker Cup team. What was that, excuse me, what was it like getting a taste of representing your country for like a team golf event?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we had so many great players on the Walker Cup team. I mean, certainly the 07 team was pretty darn talented too, but the 05 team was, everybody on that team got to the PGA Tour at one point in time. And I think, probably, a couple and 3 of those guys have played Ryder Cups. There's probably 4 of us who have won on tour out of that group or something like that. And so it was a talented group of people. And, as far as, it's interesting because as far as, representing the country in team golf goes, I talked to a guy who played he probably played the 17 Walker Cup or something like that. So, 12 years after me or so. And he said that, that was the most cool thing he ever did in golf, and while I agree with that in sentiment, like his reasoning was because it was representing your country. And for me, it was like, well, I was in the military, like I went to the Naval Academy, so I kind of already did that, so it's like, I did it a little bit differently in that sense. Like, so that didn't have the same weight to me as it did to, I think, other players, simply because I was representing my country kind of every day, putting on a uniform, going to work.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I'm going to let Esten take the next couple questions about your 2016 congressional win.
Yeah, so I was actually there at Congressional for the 3rd and 4th round on Saturday and Sunday. Me and my dad went, and it was one of my first PGA Tour events I got to go to. So living in Leesburg, it was super cool to see you win there as a hometown hero. But seeing, it was also Tigers tournament. And it had such an important emphasis on military and veterans. How big was that for you? It was your first PGA Tour win, but with that military background too, winning that event, what did that mean to you?
Well, it's kind of like a storybook, thing. You send the script to Hollywood and they send it back and say, you can't believe this, and so it, all those factors, when you put into place, it's kind of the hometown event, Tiger's event. I mean, getting a trophy handed to you from Tiger Woods, like that's kind of crazy. And then, when you add the military component, first PGA Tour win, it's kind of like all those things together are just kind of crazy that it all lined up that way. So it was awesome. Obviously, I would take a win anywhere on tour, but certainly to win that event with all those factors in place was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
definitely cool.
kind of going into the week itself, did that week feel any different for you? And also, what was it like competing with, future Hall of Famers, Ernie Els and VJ Singh down the stretch? They were in the mix for guys who were much older in age. It was kind of cool to see them in the mix too, for me as a golf fan, being fans of them. So what was that kind of like? I know you were in the final group with Ernie Els, so what was that like?
Yeah, it was amazing when you think about playing with Ernie Els just in general. And since then I've played with him a bunch actually, and gotten to kind of get to know him a little bit more. That was the first time we had played together. We had bumped into each other, and kind of, he knew who I was prior to that, but after that we've played a good amount. And so he was great, to play with. Certainly he was trying to win a golf tournament. He hadn't won a golf tournament in a good while. And, we battled pretty hard through about 13 holes. And after about 13, it was pretty clear that he wasn't going to win, and I still had a one-shot lead. And so, from that point on, you could tell he was rooting for me, which was really cool. And he actually, he slowed me down walking onto the 18th green and put his arm around me and said, your dad would be really proud of you right now, and take this in, like, enjoy this. Cause I was so focused on just finishing out the tournament. So yeah, that was, playing with Ernie, and the thing about playing with Ernie that day is that there were plenty of people rooting for Ernie because he won the US Open there in '96 at Congressional. So there, so there were plenty of people kind of on his bandwagon as well. I mean, obviously there were a ton of people, cheering for me and rooting for me, but it was a good battle. I mean, he played, like I said, until 13, it was kind of like, which one of us is gonna kind of pull this out. And then he made a couple bogeys, and it became clear that it was me or VJ kind of, like you said, VJ was kind of charging there, and thankfully he ran out of holes and stopped making birdies because he was hot on Sunday for sure. Yeah, I mean, the whole experience is, you asked if the week was different. I mean, certainly when you hit that many good golf shots, the week feels a little different, but the week definitely just had a nice flow to it. I can't really explain. I felt really, really comfortable and really, really calm for, most of the week. And, obviously those last day and last 9 holes and all that kind of stuff, it definitely, is not as calm, but the week was kind of surreal in that sense. Just, I mean, it's also a lot of fun to hit that many good golf shots. When you have that much control of your game for 4 days. I mean, that's kind of what it takes to win on the PGA Tour. But it's also a lot of fun when it all comes together like that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, I remember one of your shots on 15 at that chip, and that was probably one of the most amazing shots I've ever seen, live in person. I've been to a few events, but it was just incredible to see in person. So.
Yeah, that was the loudest I've ever heard anything on the golf course when that ball went in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome for sure hearing about your storybook win. Like you said, it couldn't have been a better script. You obviously played a lot of golf throughout your years. What is, your top 5 courses or your favorite courses that you've played, not just Northern Virginia, but all throughout the nation? If you've been to international, just where has that been?
Yeah, so my favorite course is Quaker Ridge, which is up in outside New York City in kind of Westchester County. It's literally right across the street from Wingfoot. So most people have heard of Wingfoot, where US Open just was this a couple months ago. And Quaker Ridge, we played a college tournament there my sophomore year at the academy, and it was just tremendous golf course. I didn't know much about architecture at the time, but fell in love with the golf course, and have since, kind of learned, that's a Tillinghast course. And it turns out that I like a lot of the Tillinghast courses. If you kind of keep going down the list, especially, between Philadelphia and New York, there's so many great Tillinghast designs. And so Quaker Ridge is kind of what I is my go-to, is my top favorite course. Certainly, you have so many different ways to rate golf courses. There's Congressional Special, just because I've played so well there. Not only did I win in 2016, but I finished 4th and 8th in 2012 and 2014, I think it was. So, have had a good amount of success around that track. And Hilton Head, Harbortown is a great course that we get to play on tour. Cypress Point is certainly a special place out in Monterey, California. Pebble Beach out there as well. Those are special places. Was happy to get to play in the U.S. Open last year in 2019 at Pebble. That's kind of one of those, kind of career things you wanted to make sure you got to do, is be a part of a U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. So that's definitely a special thing to do as well. The problem with playing golf on the PGA Tour is that we don't really play a bad course. We play a bunch of really, really, really great golf courses, and not only that, we play them in their peak condition of the year. Every course is aiming to have their track in the best shape they can for that one, week that we come to town. So we get spoiled on golf courses for sure.
Yes, that's definitely an understatement. You see the courses that you guys play, and then the courses like West Park that are obviously you see the difference. It's noted.
And I was going to ask too, with the win at the Quicken Loans National, you got to play at Augusta in 2017. I was just curious, what was that experience like of getting to play Augusta for the first time?
Yeah, amazing. I left Augusta off the list of favorite courses. It's definitely up there for sure. But the Masters is a special thing, and it's hard to kind of exactly put it into words, but it's just different. And I don't have a great reason why. I don't have a great but it just is. It's just a special place. It's a special golf course. It's and then just the atmosphere and the aura, around the whole tournament is amazing. So it was definitely would like to do that again. So
yeah, that's definitely you played in all majors, all 4 of them. Is there a favorite? I mean, is there one that you obviously said the U.S. Open, at Pebble Beach, the Masters, the Open Championship? I mean, yeah,
they're all so different, and that's what I think makes them great. You have the Masters, which is kind of I think probably my favorite would be the Masters if I had to pick one. Now I've played 4 U.S. Opens, so that's definitely special event as well. And then the British, the Open Championship is just it's over, it's over in Europe, it's over in England, or Scotland, etc. And the fans there are amazing. Like, so again, it's like just so different. The fans there are so knowledgeable about golf. Like if you hit a shot to 6 feet and you should have hit it to 2 feet, they don't clap. And if you hit a shot that's a really hard shot to 30 feet, they clap for you. In America, it's just, if it's 2 feet, it's great. If it's 30 feet, it stinks, but they're intelligent about what you actually needed to do in different shots, and they applaud accordingly. And so that's really fun to play over there and play a little bit different style of golf, different bunkering, the links thing, more wind typically, kind of thing. And then you have the PGA, which is obviously every bit of a major, but has a little bit more of a I don't know, I don't know how to phrase that one, but that one's maybe a little bit more fun for some reason, a little bit more low key. I mean, compared to a U.S. Open or a Masters, yeah, a little bit more, a little bit less pretentious around the whole thing. I don't know how exactly to describe it, but it's I also have my best finish at a PGA, best major finish at a PGA, so that's special as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so we cover a lot of different sports on our sports podcast. So being from the DC area, are you a big fan of some of the DC sports teams?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a Washington football team fan. That was a great thing to be growing up in the '90s. Not so much in recent years, but having being a middle school, high school in the heyday of the '90s was great for me. I've become a Nationals fan. Grew up kind of more of a Braves fan because you could watch every one of their games on TBS, and DC didn't have a team at the time. But definitely root for the Nationals. So yeah, it's hard to root for the Wizards, but I mean, I definitely definitely follow DC sports more than anything else.
Yeah, it's awesome. And obviously 2020 hasn't been the best year for anyone or everyone. 2021's coming up. So what are your plans kind of going into that year, career-wise?
Well, I had back surgery about a year ago, so I didn't play any in 2020, tournament-wise. So I'm still, I'm 80%, 75, 80% of the way back to tour golf from surgery and rehab. So 2021 for me will be getting back to competitive golf. I don't have exactly a date in there. Could be January, could be September. Kind of we'll kind of see how that all falls into place. But for me, it's getting back to competition, getting back on the course, on the tour, and chasing the little white ball again.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
yeah,
I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, we'll hope to see you. We'll hope to see you out there in 2021. Did you have any more questions, Sam?
I did not. I just wanted to say a few things. A, thank you for your service in our military. B, I hope you continue to feel better. Hopefully get back to 100%. And I mean, hope all is well. Hope 2020 finishes well for you. You finish strong with therapy. I don't know if you're doing physical therapy or rehab or what.
Oh, yeah.
So I hope that continues to go well. And we appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Nice to hang out with you guys.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Take care.